If you cannot breathe properly through your nose, most likely you have a broken nose and you don't know it. You don't even remember when this happened. And when I'll tell you in a moment what can happen even when you were a baby. When this happens, this is the center of the nose, it's septum cartilage. This is a broken nose. What is going to happen is one side, one nostril will become partially blocked. However, oftentimes people get this issue when they are babies or even very, very young kids. They fall or get an impact to the nose. Parents don't even remember this. What happens is when you are a baby or a young child, if your septum gets deviated like this, the nose will continue to grow. And when you are a teenager, the space here which is enlarged, in this space the body will react because the airflow will be too much and the body will naturally react, and this turbinate will overgrow and will just fill this space and will block the air passage in this open space nostril as well. So you will have one nostril. It can be either way, this deviation, either to the left or to the right, like in this image. So you will have one nostril which will be blocked by the septum deviation, and in the other nostrils the turbinate will overgrow and will block it as well. This is why you cannot breathe properly by nose. And now let me tell you the most important part. If you go like this to a doctor, he will tell you, let me cut the turbinate and make space. This is wrong. You may get what's called empty nose syndrome, ENS. People suffer from this lifelong. And most doctors will never accept this situation, will always deny this. Most doctors will never even tell you that you can get that problem. And when you get it and you come back to the doctor, they will deny it. It's a problem. They will say it's in your mind. You don't have problems. But read on forums, look on YouTube as well, the videos about empty nose syndrome. The people who are doing testimony on this, they're suffering and my suffering as well. So when you have this issue with breathing through the nose, do not do turbinate reduction. Go to a doctor who is doing rhinoplasty. Rhinoplasty, or if you want more popular term, it's called nose job. A nose job. If you want, for other reasons, this is what people who have money, celebrities are doing. They are reshaping the nose bones. You don't need that. Actually, you don't need it for aesthetical reasons, but you must reshape your nose bones. You must. Let me just give you an example. This is a nose that has been broken. I'm going to show you more images. These bones has been displaced and the structure in the center of the nose is now shifted to one side. Again, this nostril here, it's blocked. Obviously, you don't see the soft parts of the nose because this is a skull. So these nostrils now cannot properly breathe. And inside this enlarged nostril, because this was a child, look at the size of the eyes compared to the skull. This is a baby, actually, was a baby. So on this side here, as the person grows into an adult, the turbinate here, the body will trigger an overgrown of this turbinate, and it's going to block in some persons the other nostril as well. This is where you start having problem breathing. Now, this is a normal structure. So this is the lower, or if you want, the bigger turbinate. This is what I'm explaining in a moment. This is the upper turbinate. This is the middle structure. And by the way, if you have a nose that it's slightly bent like this, sometimes it's even hard to notice. Sometimes the displacement happens here. This structure shifts to one side, so we'll have this edge more towards the eye, and this edge will be more toward the left or to the other side. Do not never Never try to push on your nose with your hand to try to put things back in the center. Not only that is impossible because these bones are insanely strong, but if you push on these soft structures, you will get what's called a hematoma inside the nose, which will completely block your breathing. So you will get this medical condition called septal hematoma. So never again, never try to force yourself on the nose in any point of the nose. Never do this. I'm stop. I've said it 10 times. Don't do this mistake. It's going to destroy you. So again, this is a very strong displacement, but this is rare. Probably this usually it's people doing sports. This is a much milder displacement, but still notice the nose is shifted to the left side. If you draw a line in the center, it's shifted to the left side, which means the septum has been tossed to one side. Now, I was saying about this overgrown of the turbinate if this damage to the nose happened in your early childhood. Again, if you have a broken nose, go first to a person who does a rhinoplasty and ask that person, is my nose straight? Is my septum displaced? And that person will tell you the truth. If you go to a doctor who is doing turbinate reduction, let's just try to find another picture for you. I'll show this in a moment. Let's just stop here. If you do to a doctor who does turbinate reduction, which is a completely different surgery, and it's a much faster and cheaper intervention, that doctor probably will not tell you that the nose is broken and displaced and shift to one side. So there are two types of doctors. Ones that do rhinoplasty, nose job, that break the bones and strengthen your nose back again. And there are the doctors who do turbinate reduction or turbinectomy or septum deviation correction. These doctors may not tell you that you have a broken and displaced nose, and these doctors will just remove the turbinates, cut these turbinates, and this is what's going to create in many persons empty nose syndrome and lifelong suffering. And it's more or less, it's not really possible to recover from that condition. So again, now, when you go to doctors who do turbinate reduction, let me just talk about this part here. When you go to doctors who do turbinate reduction, these persons, I dealt with with several of them, and in my YouTube videos, I'm going to link you my playlist with this problem. I have many people who say the doctors who do turbinate reduction do not tell you the truth. They also may manipulate you. They also may lie to you. Unfortunately, they do it. If you believe a doctor is a god and a perfect person, maybe one day you will find the hard way. It's not really like that. Ask me how I know and ask others how they know. Now, here's the thing here. There are several interventions on the turbinate. So I told you not to do turbinate reduction. Maybe in some situations you have no choice. Maybe you cannot replace your bones with rhinoplasty. Maybe even if you replace your bones with rhinoplasty, the turbinate being overgrown, it's still blocking your nostril. However, I think the rhinoplasty should fix at least partially the problem, and my warm advice is if you get an improvement from rhinoplasty for nose job, from reshaping the bones of the nose, be happy with it. Do not try to improve and do not try to do a turbinate reduction, because turbinate reduction is where the problems start. Now, let me just, because I know there are people who are going to do turbinate reduction anyway, let me just give you my advice. First and most important advice, Do only one side of the nostril. Do not do the both nostrils if you do turbinate reduction. Another advice, do not let the doctor remove completely the turbinate. Usually they remove the lower turbinate because doctors want to go all in, do as much as they can, and just go to the next person. Do only a partial turbinate reduction. My warm advice, do only 30%, no more, and again, only on one side, only inside one nostrils. Strive for only a partial fix at first. See how it goes afterwards. As of the techniques, let me just find that page. Yes, I think, but just try to search yourself on forums or internet. I think what's called submucosal resection is the safest way, but I'm not sure and nobody can be sure. This does not cut the mucosa. So when you talk turbinate, the turbinate, it's the bone. Let's see here. The turbinate, it's like a bone, and there is a mucosa, or if you want, maybe a tissue, a skin that's covering this turbinate. That mucosa is critical. If a doctor cuts through that mucosa, it's not going to recover, and the role for that mucosa is to create very humid air inside your nose when you breathe your air in, breathe in, and get that humid air inside your lungs. If the doctor is using a technique that it's damaging the mucosa, and I have to point out at this point, radio frequency is also damaging the mucosa, so don't do radio frequency. If the doctor is damaging the mucosa, your mucosa will become dry permanently. You will no longer feel you are breathing, and also in my situation, the mucosa, the dryness of the mucosa has caused the turbinate to overinflate, overgrow for some reason, and it has blocked my nostrils even more. I did turbinate reduction, and because the doctor did damage the mucosa when he did cut into the turbinate, now my mucosa is permanently dry and my nostrils get blocked terribly at night time. I can no longer sleep at night time. So if you really want to go with a let's find this back. If you really want to go with turbinate reduction, turbinectomy, again just one nostril, never both, and maybe submucosal may not damage the mucosa, may not cut through may not damage it. Basically, submucosa, from my understanding, is just they are doing a small hole in the mucosa, and through that tiny hole, they cut into the turbinate. Now, many doctors don't do that. They cut and destroy the mucosa. Why? Because it's easier for them to work like this, to cut the turbinate underneath the mucosa. It's much easier. And also, I want to point this, I cannot stress this enough. Many of these doctors are not, I know you won't agree with me, will think I'm just, you know, many of these doctors don't tell you and are not honest with you. They are just like this. That's the kind of persons we are dealing with, unfortunately. They won't tell you the truth. Maybe they are going to say, oh yes, I'm going to do some mucosa, and maybe he's going to do something else that will damage your mucosa. My warm advice, have them write on a paper and sign the exact things that he will do in that surgery. Only one nostril, only 30%, only submucosal intervention technique, and also one last thing. Some doctors are going to tell you, I'm not going to touch the turbinates, I'm only going to strengthen the septum. Let me just tell you something, where I am. This is the septum here. Yes, they can only uh, intervene, if you want, operate the septum, but what they don't tell you is most of the times when a doctor will operate the septum, he will also, without telling you, operate and remove the turbinate as well, because it's logical. You see, when the septum is shifted like this to one side, if he just puts the septum straight, maybe he doesn't get enough passage in the nostrils, and maybe he will also cut into the turbinates, even if he doesn't tell you this before the surgery. That's why I'm saying have him put everything down before the surgery and sign. If the doctor is refusing to do this, walk away, go to another doctor, go to 10 doctors until you find a doctor that is honest with you and does exactly what you are asking him to do. Again, this is an example of a broken nose, and this, I believe, this is a rhinoplasty. So the doctor did, from what I understand, let me just see. He doesn't do surgery. Probably he did strengthen the septum. Hopefully he didn't touch the turbinates, and he put back the nose bones. So this is what you need to do. Put back the nose bones. If you obviously, if you have a broken nose, your bones are already solidly grown in place. So what a doctor does, a nose job or rhinoplasty, he kind of breaks the bones and reshapes them back again. So he will have to just break them in those bits. There are a couple of pieces of bone, and just put them correctly back in place. And after a couple of weeks, they will just solder or whatever, fuse together correctly in the correct position. It looks like this one also did modify, but only the septum without touching the turbinates. So basically this is exactly, I repeat, this is exactly what you want to do. Do this and then see how it goes. See what results you get. If you get a decent, acceptable breathing, stop there. Don't try to do anything else. This is just my warm advice. This is my warm suggestion. I can just, I'm finishing the video with this. I can just tell you, empty nose syndrome, ENS. Google, look on YouTube. I'm going to put your links in the comment section. It's not something you want to have. I'm just going to say it this way. And it's going to last for the remaining of your life. And I'm speaking in perfect knowledge. And you can see my channel about other people telling exactly the same thing. This is why I'm doing this video. I want just to keep you from this happening to yourself. Okay, so again, this is the central structure. These are the bones. These bones oftentimes get displaced. You also get a displacement here. There is another little bit of bone. This one actually, it's half bone, half soft cartilage. So this, when you die, obviously is going to remain just the bone, but there is also a soft cartilage. Let me just show you. So this is the soft cartilage, and behind it there is a bone. So the cartilage sits on another piece of bone, and this, I'm finishing the video. This is a normal, it's just a view from the side. This is the top bones. These ones are the ones that oftentimes get broken, displaced, shift to one side. Inside here you see the center bone where the cartilage which goes toward front, it's fixed, the soft structure. What you see here is the lower turbinates. It's like a bone, and obviously they are going to have a layer of mucosa on top of them. Again, this is a broken bone, not very, so this is normal before the surgery, before the accident actually. This is how it looks after the accident, and also you have, this is inside the nose, this is the septum that has been shifted to one side. Again, there are many ways the nose can break, but you notice this nostrils is much enlarged, while this one it's more restricted, and you cannot really see. The turbinates are deeper inside here, but they are there inside the nose. So yeah, a baby. Okay, thanks for watching, and check in the comment section for my ENS playlist, and I'm going to link you a forum as well.